Johnny Rock Show. Rockin' 101, the Rock Station.
Straight up, 8 a.m., the Johnny Rock Show. Our special guest, Gatham Chopra, director of the new Bon Jovi, what is it, a 14-part documentary? No, it's a 4-part documentary. Thank you. Good night on Hulu. The world premiere for all of us that couldn't get to the VIP thing at South by Southwest. That happens Friday. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Well, I got to tell you, I have seen so many promos and so many clips on social media and all the talk shows. It's really a huge deal, isn't it?
It's incredible. I mean, I guess I should know this, after following these guys for the last 2 years and chronicling the 40 years. But man, they are still relevant and they do something and the world listens.
Our guest, Gatham Chopra, director of the new Bon Jovi documentary, 4-part. Thank you. Good night on Hulu. Premieres Friday. And it's 4 parts. Is it chronological?
It is, in terms of looking back at the 40 years. I think, as you know, as a lot of fans know, I mean, by the way, you're featured in it, and I don't know if you know that, the beginning of episode 2. But, it's the 40 years, but it's also the past 2 years, I would say. And as John was trying to figure out what was going on with his voice and, is he going to be able to go forward at the same level that he's accustomed to and that he's committed to? So it was sort of following 2 timelines in that sense.
There must be something wrong with the phone. I thought you said I'm featured in it. No, I had heard from the Bon Jovi camp that, John tells the story of WAPP. Is that right?
He tells the story of WAPP, and then if you recall, when we were in April of 22 starting this 15-city tour that, was essentially him testing to see where he was with his voice, the first interview he did in Omaha was with you to sort of launch that tour. And so I was there, as well. And then there's a little clip of that, I think, featured in the second episode.
Hold on a minute. First of all, it was St. Cloud, not Omaha. I'll take what I can get. But so you're telling me the interview on Rockin' 101 is also featured in this thing? Oh my God. Yep. There's going to be no living with me. Enough about John Bon Jovi. More me now. Me. No, it's, listen, I got to tell you, when John thanked me at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I joke that Elvis would have given me a Cadillac. That's an old joke, I say, but it really meant a lot, and it was very touching. And Chip Hobart, who was another reason that he got on WAPP. Now, you touched on, thank John for me, by the way. You touched on his voice. I remember that gig at the XL Energy Center. I had forgotten it was the kickoff of that 15-city tour. And I heard what everybody heard, that it wasn't, I didn't think it was as bad as, people made out, but he's a perfectionist, right? His voice started to slip.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the issue that's been going on for a couple of years now, and he talks pretty extensively about it, and then we track it across the 2 years. He ended up having surgery almost a year and a half ago, and he's been working back, from that and continues to do that. But yeah, look, John's he's, as you said, he's a perfectionist, and as he said, he wants to be at 100% of 100%, and what is he saying now? He has to be able to do 2.5 hours a night, 4 nights a week in order to be able to get to the level he wants to go out back on the road. But yeah, I mean, for me as a storyteller, it was exactly the type of stakes, because look, there's an incredible story looking back at the 40 years, starting with Runaway at, WAPP, et cetera. But, this urgency of what's going on now really gave it, I don't know, an electricity that I felt really made it feel very modern and like I said, urgent. So we tracked that quite a bit.
And I have to ask, I have friends that have a club called Strictly Sambora, and they're all about Richie. He's in this thing too, right?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, there's no way, right? Early on when I met with John, I said, hey, we can't do this without Richie. And John said, hey, we can't do this without Richie. So we were on the same page as that. and it wasn't really as controversial as I thought it was going to be. You know, got in touch with Richie. Richie's one condition was you have to come to London to interview me at Abbey Road Studios. I was like, okay, twist my arm. I'll be there. He was great. We ended up doing a second interview a couple months later as well. Look, Richie was everything I had already seen in the archive by the time I actually sat down with him, which was fun, thoughtful, warm, gracious, a little nutty, like, you know, talented. He broke out a guitar. Yeah, he's great. And he's great in the doc. And, you know, I think I was just so grateful. You know, the only person we weren't able to get really was Alec, because he passed away, unfortunately, during production before we were able to get to him.
Gatham Chopra, director of the new Johnny Rock documentary, John Bon Jovi and the band documentary. Thank you. Good Night on Hulu makes the world premiere on Friday. Well, you know, I'll be sitting around watching at least episode 2, because I'm in it. No, I'll watch the whole thing. Honestly, I refired up the Hulu subscription 2 days ago for this thing. So,
amazing.
Yeah, come on. Well, thank John, thank everybody for putting me in it. And, hey man, good job. We'll talk soon. Come on back to the Johnny Rock Show anytime. Okay.
I appreciate it.
No,
nice to talk to you.
Thank you. Hey, have I ever told you my Bon Jovi story?
The Johnny Rock Show. Rockin' 101. The Rock.